Hello, this is Sad David, also known by my real name, David, and I'm submitting Limbo to 2018's AGDQ. So, I'm doing a little something different this time. I'm going to do a live run and try to commentate. So instead of trying to manage splits, I'll just be using no splits. Alright, so 3, 2, 1, let's go. Doesn't have to be accurate, but we'll just do the best we can. Alright, so this is Limbo. Starts out with a boy waking up in the forest, if you've never played before. And I'm going to start right off the bat by jumping instead of walking, as you may notice. This isn't just for show, it's because it's actually faster than if I just held right. But there's a rhythm to it where I take a step, jump, land, and then take another step, jump, land again. Alright, and so I'm submitting Limbo again this time, but as a race with another fellow speedrunner named Rookus. And he's been one of the most active runners in the top 10, I'd say. He's improving lots and running different categories too now. What I'm doing here, not there. Here is not there. Here is called boat strats, where I use the boy's body weight and speed to jump into the end of the boat and push it along the water. So anyway, back to Rookus. He's a very active runner on Twitch, and I actually enjoy watching him because even in runs that he wouldn't consider so great, he's really good at recovering from small mistakes and things that might bother you, might want you to reset, but he recovers flawlessly from them and continues the run and often PBs from them. And he's also smart and funny and nice as well. Alright, and so here's the first real obstacle that could kill you, I'd say, even as a competitive runner, those bear traps there. And we'll see a theme of different objects that will kill you in the game, one of them being spiked objects. And we also use other dark things to help us along the way, like that carcass that I assume was an animal that got caught in a trap of another sort. And so I got into speedrunning Limbo through an achievement that was built in the game, dying 5 times or fewer, and also completing the game in a single setting. And from there I just wanted to make the game as beautiful as possible in a single segment game, and just sitting there and completing the game, and that ended up to speedrunning. And now I'm coming up to a trick called tree skip, which I didn't get to show you last time. And the point of it is to skip bringing the box to the left and getting the branch to break down from the tree. And I didn't warm up at all on purpose because it seems to help me. Well, I didn't expect to get it second try, but not warming up to it just seems to help me get it. And I don't know why. But I was going to attempt it like 10 plus times until I got it. But anyway, here we are, in a pretty decent run, actually. And so here, the spider is blocking our path, and we get its movements and dodge its arm, and when his little spider leg, or his big spider leg, hits the ground, it shakes the earth enough to knock this bear trap from the tree, and we go back and retrieve it, and then we can use it to our advantage now. And I'm actually not letting go of the grab button at all. I can just drag the bear trap around and put it where I want. But yeah, I was talking about tree skip a little bit. That's probably one of the newest skips that has been discovered. And you'll see it in all the top records now, all the top bests on the leaderboard, because it's only 3 minutes in the game, so depending on how into Limbo you are, you might find it worth it to reset and try again if you can't get it. We'll see a couple more cutscenes. It's a nice breather to have. Here we're getting wrapped up in the web. I'd say the first cutscene of the game, but then it requires some movement. I use the left and right keys on the keyboard. I'm actually running the whole game on the keyboard, but tapping left and right rhythmically to untangle myself the fastest. But not completely untangled because I'm still wrapped up. I call it the cocoon, even though spiderwebbing isn't a cocoon. But yeah, I just get to make my way along here. Very simplified controls when I'm wrapped up like this. And very simplified deaths too. The nice thing about that checkpoint, and several checkpoints throughout the game, is that it doesn't cost you much time. I wasn't looking at the timer, but I'd say that only cost me like 7 to 10 seconds. Most of the deaths will cost you less than 12 seconds, and some will even cost you as little as 4 seconds, including the swinging bear trap that's coming up right here after this boulder. If you die to that and you respawn right next to it, then it only costs you 4 seconds. But here's a little auto-scrolling boulder. The trick here is to find your spot and jump off of it as soon as you can. And since I died once, a little fact is I automatically get a good push off that slope there when I fall down. Just the way the checkpoint reloads. Otherwise you won't get a good fall off that. But here's the bear trap skip. Like so. So you don't have to swing to the left at all. You can just grab it, swing right, jump up and grab the ledge. This is a little obstacle course. The reason I died there was because I'm trying to jump as late as possible so I get good climbs on these tree trunks. And so if you just try and push it a little too much, he doesn't jump at all and he just falls off. So push that optimization a little too far and you'll get punished. Here we see a familiar obstacle, but it's not a spider leg, it's a makeshift mechanical version of it. In our first instance of the bullies, I guess they're mocking me, and they're also trying to kill me. That's called tire skip. Usually I have to run all the way back, let the tire fall in the water, and then make my way through. But if I jump just right, I can press the right button on my keyboard, and I'll hop right over it. Alright, here's the bully for it, and you can see in the background that I wasn't the first one to be bullied, I guess. But something I really like about this game, as you can see the spider chasing coming up, is I really enjoy the progression of speedrunning this, completing this in a single sitting, like I said. There's a real sense of progression and furthering my position that I wouldn't get in other games because the scenes and puzzles are all so different. and also the puzzle mechanics all build up on each other, so towards the end of the game, they're throwing all sorts of tricks at you. Wow, that's embarrassing. And why I'd make a good race? Is that because even with a death like that, the checkpoints are placed so that even as a new player of the game, if you're making the correct steps onto solving the puzzle, the checkpoints will change in accordance to that. So alright, here's a little trick to knock the boulder down faster. Usually it'll take 2 jumps, but with 1 jump there, I'm using my weight to fall back down onto the stick in the right spot. I'm good to go. Here I usually like to enjoy just the whistling winds and the sounds of nature. Very peaceful in comparison to all the violence that we've seen so far. And I really have to give this spider credit for not giving up. Kind of feel bad, but I guess it's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and I have to look out for myself. Oh my gosh. And here I'll try to get a boost off of... Wow. I was going for a little boost off the body of the spider there, but that's okay. It didn't work out. Here's one of my favorite areas in the game. We go by the name of Crow Box for it because there's a crow standing on the box, and if I jump right, it'll just slide down on its own. Didn't get a perfect one there, but I'll take that in a run. And we enter the cave. Alright, here's a trick that saves less than half a second. It's because standing on that dead body for too long will make the boy's feet sink in the water, and he'll jump less, or I guess less distance, yeah. But jumping back away from it, once I jump back to it, I can just get right off it and have the furthest jump available for me. Alright, so we're progressing deeper into the cave here. Timing my jumps just right so I can get boosts off the slopes, little optimal movement, things like that. Here's also a section I'm a fan of. Meet my friends on the Dart Squad. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Little do they? I'm a big fan of theirs, but eventually I'm gonna outsmart them. Spoiler. Here's a very concentrated puzzle area called... I don't actually know what it's called. I just call it the weights puzzle, but requires very tight movement because this area is so small. And you have to really know where you're going to get through these doors before they close on you. But I'm liking my chances here. Here I just want to land right on the surface there, so I can take a full jump and get as far as I can and just slide under those doors. Okay, here's a mind-controlling worm, the first of a few, and I'll be attempting a skip here to try and get it out of my head a little bit faster. And there we go. Usually I'd have to go to the light here, the worm is triggered by the light, turn around, push the box, and then jump to reach up to them. But in a trick that saves about 10 seconds, I can just go right like nothing ever happened. We'll get this fine young man his mushroom. And then he'll reward us by powering this giant machine. Another mystery of Limbo is that huge machine there. We get an introduction to gears that we'll see, big machinery that this boy has to operate to get through. Is just the first of many. But here is a more simple device. Just simply channel the rainfall into this pit, and so we can jump on the log and to head into like a sewer system of some kind. And again, another area of just peaceful rainfall and a couple birds in the background. I don't know, I really enjoy this scene, how the camera pans out and you're just left with a sense of how small he really is in scale of everything around him. Okay, so I want to get on the right side of the box here, because then I can drag it to a shallower area of this ground and then jump off it quicker. And so everything I do here is in the name of speed. Including leaving that box as far left as possible. Here's just a little bit of downtime. I can't do anything about the water level rising. Just have to let it work for me. Here's a tricky bit of game design if you're unfamiliar with Limbo. You have to open the gate and catch the buoy as it pops up. It definitely takes a couple deaths to get used to. And yes, the boy cannot swim, he will drown. Hopefully I don't have to prove that to you. And I have it timed out so I can jump up here as soon as possible. The movement's very important for a box coming up in a little bit. Here, I'll throw the switch. And then throw the other switch up here. And then this box will float up so I can catch the ledge. But that's not the box I was talking about earlier. This box coming up here has a worm swinging above it. And if I did the section before it right, I don't have to wait at all. I can just drag this, climb down as I'm moving right, and then let the light turn me around. When I have this worm, you didn't get to see it before, and I step into the light, it actually changes direction. There's nothing I can do about it. If I'm going right and I walk into the light, I'm now going left. And if I'm going left and walk into the light, then I'll be going right. And I have to continue in that direction until either I die, the worm gets eaten, or I find another light source. So because I can't progress up and to the right there, I have to find the light again here to turn around. And I can waste time here actually, and it won't lose me time in the grand scheme of things, because when the pipe broke, the water level started rising again, not in control by me at all. It's just at its own pace. So here, it's what I consider like the halftime. Just chill, grab a drink of water, stretch out my hands from a hard-earned break. And donations during the marathon, of course. Okay, so that can be a tricky little pipe if you get an unfortunate wobble on it, let me say, and you don't end up catching the ledge. That's probably one of the costliest deaths in the game. So try to get a good ledge grab there. The way the ledge grab works is if you're close to the ledge when you grab it, he'll kind of catch the ledge with his belly and not have a long climbing animation. But if you make him catch it with his arms, instead of him sort of just landing on it with his belly, like that, it's a longer climb, which is like maybe a quarter to a half a second. But this movement is throughout the entire game, so they definitely add up. And even the best runs that I've seen have like 7 to 10 seconds just gone because of movement that is close to perfect but not quite. Just tiny little things added up through the course of the run. But the good thing about that is because the movement wastes so little time, even if it's bad movement, just for happening in an instance or two, that in a race, it's going to be neck and neck throughout the whole thing. Very easy to follow. You can immediately tell, which runner's in which area, how close they are to each other. And I think it'd be very fun to watch, or participate in my case. In our Discord, we have coordinated races before, and we've all streamed it, and that's been really fun. I've pulled up like 5 different runners side by side just to watch them race. Okay, I'll try and catch this worm just right here. There we go. I skipped an animation by pressing left just at the correct time. Right, and here we're going to see another interesting piece of game design. This is a big, long area of jumping and just trying to push myself to the right. But because of that, I'll get to see some of the areas where I won't be able to access yet, but I'll get to take a look at the upcoming puzzles once I come back. So here we're going to see an elevator, a box, and 2 switches. And we'll be like, I wonder what's coming up. But I can't do anything about it yet, because I can't change direction. I just have to keep going. Alright, so you're thinking to yourself, go fast, go fast, go fast, but hit this button, you want to take it slow. Because again, you're waiting on the game, but this time it's crucial to let it drop the box, or else you can't get over this stop. So, you think you have it down. You have this whole section of jumping fast, trying to get as far as you can. Just for the game to go, nope, can't do that here. I think it's kind of humorous in a dark, twisted way, these sort of instances. This trial and death kind of progression. Alright. So just taking that beam back 2 steps is just barely enough to catch the edge. And we'll finally see what's up with that elevator. Even though I know how to solve this puzzle, it's ruined more runs than I want to admit here. That's pretty good, actually. You don't want it to hit the edge, and you don't want to see a gap in between this bottom part of the elevator and the floor, this second level of flooring here. And we're just going to try and keep our movement brief here and time it just right so that when the rope is moving down, we're moving the box, and when the rope is moving up, we try and catch it as quick as possible there. Here's a little strat I like. Gonna actually bop the box, so we have to wait less time in between pressing the switches and stack them up and jump up here. Recently improved, and I've put it into every run since then. Alright, here we're gonna find a shy little bug. Just caught it. You do want to catch it as late as possible. Catch the very bottom tip of the mosquito or insect here, but it's very risky to do in runs where you're on a good pace. And here's probably the most exciting stretch of the game I can think of. I call this the tire factory. And there's a great big puzzle here. And the whole point of it is just to get a box, that's all, and bring it to the next puzzle. So I kind of like that you have to go through all this for one small reward, and in return that helps you solve the next puzzle. It's the way they're interconnected like that. I think that's really cool. So that tire is on its way. It has its roll too in this. And that is to act as a weight to trip this button here. So we're going to solve that in an unorthodox way by kind of jamming up the trap lever, or I guess the trap door, and then pushing it when it comes down again, so that we can use it to kind of kick the box down there. Saves a bit of time. And here we're not going to stack the boxes like I wanted to originally. That was not a good climb. But let's see if I can save it. Alright. That was something. That was a backup I hadn't attempted before, but alright. Here I climbed off the box on purpose so that I wasn't tripping the button anymore, because it acts as a pressure plate where if I'm on it, it's rising up. So if I get off it sooner, it will lower quicker, and that way I can push the box onto that little platform there. Alright, so I would split right now if I could, but thankfully I just have the little timer going. So here I'm sweating by now. I'm pretty nervous because I'm one of the most intense skips of the game here. Because it's so late and because of the difficulty of it, it's skipping another skip that's already been found. So it's like a multi-level skip, and it requires insane timing. Let's see if I can just sneak through the door that's coming up here. Alright, so you could see I was getting my head squished a little bit, but ultimately made it. And I don't actually need this box here. I can use the physics of the rotating world to get the correct angle I need to jump up onto that rope. And so I actually have no idea how good of a run this is, but this would be pretty good. I would take this in a race. Oops. Sometimes he just loses grip, and I'm not sure why. But if he doesn't lose grip on that, it is pretty fast to get on the other side of that box as it falls down. Here I will attempt a worm turn. Didn't quite get it. So you got to see the animation a little bit. Alright, so you may have noticed this is completely different than what we saw before. There's a bit of story going on in the game, and that is, you could read the description of the game, a boy waking up alone in the forest looking for his lost sister, and he thought he saw him walking up to his sister there. But it was just another trick. I guess he is not worthy to go find his sister yet. So here's a very tough puzzle that requires some concentration and timing. In between the changing of direction, you have to jump on that gear and get to the ladder, so that this gear is ultimately going counterclockwise again, so you can get to this ledge. Here we see some wires, some levers, some lightning signs. What could that mean? I don't know. But yeah, There's some electricity thrown into the mix. And we have to make sure not to touch these rails at all cost. Once again, I'll use the boys' hops to try and speed things up a bit. Kind of kick this cart into place. You can kind of see it jump a little bit if I do it correctly. And then kick it back once more, just in case I can't get off the electric floor in time. But I did, and now we have time to contemplate the next skip, which is called Dark Skip. As you can imagine, I'll be attempting this in pitch black, save for this swinging lamp here, my only clue. And I'll use that as a guideline here coming up. So I got the skip. You're meant to actually not use the rotating world to catch the ledge, but instead go a level up and get a box. But now, thanks to some Machine Gun Harmony soundtrack in the background, we can destroy one of the guns and make our way into this little section. And I'm going to try that again. My backup strat here is just to end it all. Okay. It's to get up onto the ledge with the box in one cycle, like so. I only have to tripping the anti-gravity once. So just when you're through with one section, like the electricity, you get another mechanic thrown into the mix. And the runners have this timed out just right, so we will barely make it as the gravity turns on. And we can sort of ride the box up. Now for the largest area in the game, the big room, as we call it, accordingly, it requires us to explore the whole area and also do things as fast as possible because of something called the piston cycle. There is a piston to the right where we need both boxes, and that's one of them, and this is the other one. And the piston goes in and out every 11 seconds or so. That's a cycle. And if we do things right, and I'll see if I can show you what a good cycle would look like. Alright, so the way we can trick the gravity there using the switches is to bring both boxes closer to us when we would normally have to walk the entire ceiling upside down. in order to catch this piston with both boxes in the right spot. So just like that, we're moving on. The trick for that one is to press the gravity switch just long enough so one sticks to the ceiling, but the other one doesn't. Because one is on sort of a tiered level and the other one is sitting on the ground. So you have just a tiny bit of leeway. And welcome to what I like to call basically the only RNG in the run. That rope swinging on the zip line was one of them, and then this rope coming up here is the other one. So yeah. Usually we have to wait for the rope to get onto the right side there, and then safely make it down. Up here we're going to see what I consider the only glitch in the game. And that will be clipping through this block here, believe it or not. Just stand it next to it. As the gravity switches, and for some reason, you are flipped too. Here's some really beautiful music, and that's time. But yeah, this is really incredible. If you get a chance, definitely wear headphones when you play this. So yeah, I didn't stop the timer there because the Google Chrome timer would just kind of cover it up, but that would be time when he hits the glass. So yeah, we'll complete the story here, but that's a speedrun of Limbo. You can see how hard it can be even for experienced runners like me, but how fun it is to get through the game, in my opinion. That's why I've been sticking with it over a year. It's the first game I've ever speedrun, and I don't plan on stopping in the future. So yeah, Rookus probably finished like 5 minutes ago, and you're just chilling for me to finish, but I would do my best. I'd try my best. And there we go. Finally found her. So I'll let this scene play out, and thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. And thank you for your consideration. Again, this was Limbo. And this was for Awesome awesome games done quick. So thank you very much. Bye.